is a review of two shows from tonight, that being Night Callers and Bigfoot Busters. They're both pretty great shows. There was no guest on Night Callers other than Miss Laurie Phillips, who was interviewed by Lauren McGrory and JB. Luke Gross was not there because of well, there was an emergency in his family. He was unable to be on the show, but anyway, what happened was it was just basically an interview of Miss Laurie, and Laurie actually talked about the first experience she ever had with a Sasquatch, where she actually had a sighting and had some vocalizations occur and things of that nature. Bill Green called in. He jumped the gun a bit and called in the first thing and asked the standard question, as he always does. He also kind of took over the show again, Bill, referring to the A-Team movie and talking about how wonderful it was and all this stuff. And then, let's see, I called in and I discussed a few things with Laurie and with JB and Lauren. Lauren did her Fritters in the Field about the Mushlot Harry story, where a fellow claimed he was kidnapped and held for a few hours by a family of Sasquatches, and then he was able to escape. Apparently what happened was they pulled on his long underwear. He was wearing long woolen underwear, which they thought was his skin. So they were pulling on it. Anyway, and I called in. I was talking about the Oregon Sasquatch Symposium that I'll be going in a few days. And other than that, it was a really great show. I'm not sure what they have planned for next week, but it'll begin at 7 Eastern, 6 Central. www.blogtalkradio.com/nightcallers. And then over on Bigfoot Busters, Tim was on vacation, so Chuck actually was still co-hosting, and Stacy Stein02 took over as host. And the guest was Paul Bartholomew. Paul Bartholomew is a longtime investigator and an author. He co-wrote 2 books, Monsters of the North Woods and Bigfoot Encounters in New York and New England. And he talked quite a bit about some of the history of the sightings in New York and Vermont. Talked quite a bit about the Whitehall sightings, the A-Bear Road 1976 sighting, the sighting by Dan Gordon. That was from 1982, by the way. And several other cases that have occurred in that area. Bill Green called in, but he had to wait a little bit. But he called in, asked the standard question, asked Paul if he was thinking about writing another book on the Whitehall Sasquatch. Paul kind of mentioned that he might be. There's enough material to write one. Thankfully, no A-Team update this time. And Bill was kind of discussing a little bit about some of the sightings, saying that Connecticut wasn't having any activity at the moment. And his usual standard, he asked us the usual standard question as usual. Asked it not only to Paul, but also to the 2 guests. You know, I think Bill's night is complete now. Matter of fact, from what I understand, he asked the question on 3 different shows, on Night Callers, Squatch Detective Radio, and Bigfoot Busters. But we love Bill. I mean, I sometimes give him a hard time, and I sometimes tease him a little bit, but he's a good guy. But anyway, and then Paul, after Bill got off the line, Paul discussed a little bit more about the activity in the New York, Vermont area and in New England. Other than that, it was a pretty great show. Next week, not sure what they'll have planned for next week. It'll be 9 Eastern, 8 Central, www.blogtalkradio.com/TCSJRBigfoot. Now, shows that upcoming this week. Tomorrow night will be Sasquatch Watch Radio, 9 Eastern, 8 Central. www.blogtalkradio.com/SasquatchWatchRadio. Not sure who the guest is going to be or what the subject matter will be, but it'll air tomorrow night. And then Wednesday night, HBM's Crypto-Corner will return. 8 Eastern, 7 Central, www.blogtalkradio.com/HBMs-crypto-corner. And our guest, mine and Bill's guest, will be Toby Johnson from he's the organizer of the Oregon Sasquatch Symposium. He'll be talking about that. We might have a few special guests on as well. Probably some of the speakers at the event. That'll be again this Wednesday night, 87 Central, and then the Sasquatch Experience will be returning on Wednesday evening at 10 Eastern, 9 Central. www.blogtalkradio.com/Sasquatch Experience. I'm not sure what Sean and I are going to talk about, but we'll find something to discuss, I'm sure. But we do want to remind you, as always, we do encourage you to please tune in and support great research.